what advice do you have for an individual who wants to engage in the policy process as far as the best way to be an effective communicator on this? Holly, do you mind taking that on?
Yeah, I'd be happy to share some thoughts on that. First and foremost, I would just say to anybody who's kind of embarking on this, maybe for the first time or re-engaging in this after some time off, it can feel intimidating from the outside, but behind the processes are real human beings, whether they're legislators or in the executive branch or in the agency, who are committed to their public service. And while there may be disagreements about the nuance of any number of policy issues, there really is a genuine shared commitment to bettering the lives of Virginians. And so I think starting from that place and recognizing that there may be some conversation about different tactics, but that ultimately, especially in education, that there are many shared goals there, and starting from that place can be really helpful in your advocacy. And second, as part of that, knowing that policymakers want to hear from you. As Gina said, they need and they want to know how existing or proposed policies impact your daily life, impact your students, impact your schools and your broader communities. They want to know what the unintended consequences are and whether or not you perceive those policies to actually be achieving what they were designed to do. And so I think it's important to know that that feedback is welcome. There are lots of ways to do that, whether it's in public hearings or through written advocacy or through kind of more informal communications with former colleagues like Gina that can advance those conversations. As someone who doesn't come from the practice of teaching, I spend a lot of time listening to colleagues, to practitioners, to education leaders in the field, because I can tell you all about the different levers to pull and how to pull them and which order to recommend you push and pull in from a state policymaking perspective. But I need to hear and be grounded in the reality of what those policies are on a day-to-day basis. And I'm really appreciative of the many folks along the way who have helped me stay grounded and who remind me of the practical implications of some of the state policies we work on.
That's great advice. And I think we've all experienced that people do, even if they are vehemently opposed to each other's approach to something, there is a common thread there that you really need to build off of. And I think Rob maybe can give us some very practical advice. I mean, obviously policymakers want to hear from people, but Rob, if you can get down into the details of there's a good way and a better way. I don't want to say there's ever a wrong way, but there's always better, more effective ways. And maybe you can be very matter of fact about that.
Yeah, so my approach when it comes to advocacy, whether it be at the executive branch or legislative branch, number one, keep it very simple. I think the mistake a lot of people make is they come in and they try to say way too much. Executive branch leaders have a lot on their plate. So when you go in and visit with Holly, or you might have 5 minutes, you might have 10 minutes. But you need to be very focused in what you say. Bring a one-pager to keep it simple. If it's a more complex issue, you can always, email the official other documents that they might need that might help them if they want to get down in the weeds. But one, keep it simple. Number two, be very authentic. The last thing you want to do is come off like you're reading, some prepackaged set of message points, and to that extent, like personalizing messages. So if you're talking about, as a teacher, something that's going on in your area, maybe you're talking about whether schools should reopen, tell the official what that means from your perspective. The fear you're feeling, teaching and not wanting to get coronavirus, for example. So, I think those are the two most important things. Be authentic, be simple. And and bring documents like one-pagers that you can leave with the official, because they may have 20 meetings in a day and they're not going to remember everything you said. So, but erring on the side of simplicity is the biggest thing.